Ready, class. UFC 292 is upon us, so grab your notebooks, grab your pens, be ready to take some notes because we're going to cover this entire card here in this video. If you would like, before we get started in that, follow me on Twitter, 138MMA. You can also find me over on patreon.com/138MMA, where you get access to all of my notes. You get access to my Patreon parlay, which actually hit last week. Every single leg, the base, the extra leg, and the degenerate leg, which was sweet. And a newer feature that I call my top 5 favorite bets. You can get access to that as well. It's just 5 bets that I like for that week. Not necessarily the only bets I'm placing, but 5 that I put out there. So you get access to that, as well as any other random stuff I decide to put on there. In addition to that, you can find me on Tapology, 138MMA over there as well. So all that good stuff. One more little bit of business to handle. Somebody let me know on a live stream last weekend while getting ready to the pre-show or whatever on Blood Money's channel. Somebody let me know in the live stream comments or live chat that Angelo had brought my name up again over on their live stream. But here's the deal. I looked up how long it was, and I didn't want to watch the whole thing. So if somebody did happen to watch that, please do me a favor. Let me know in the comments what Angelo was saying, so that way I can give a proper response, because there's no way I'm going to sit through that whole thing. That was way long, and I really just don't want to listen to him talk that long. Please do me that favor. I appreciate it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into some fights, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 138 brings to you the hottest race in the world.
Rematch in the women's flyweight division. We have Moroz taking on Karine Silva. Silva 5-0 in the last 5, 3-2 for Moroz. Now, if you remember, or if you just looked it up on the internet, Moroz actually won the first matchup, but I believe Silva was like 20 years old then, so it's been a bit. She's improved greatly since then, and I believe now is a better time for this matchup. Both ladies in the UFC, things are going to be a little bit different. At least they're going to be very competitive. For Karine Silva, she has excellent grappling, and she is a quick double leg, but she also just drags her opponents to the mat sometimes, gets a hold of them and just pulls them down with her. It doesn't matter how she gets them there. She's aggressively going to attack submissions, and she is very nasty ground and pound once she gets the fight to the mat. In the striking, she has some solid power. She has good tight defense, and she's going to strike in bursts, kind of ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-boom, kind of like a combo, but instead of, it is a combo, but kind of like, not just standard combo strikings. They're very, like, it's a burst, you know what I mean? It's not like, it's not like she steps in, throws a combo, steps out, whatever. It's very, like, burst-esque, if you know what I mean, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Either way, that's what I mean. Either way, for Moroz, she's got good grappling as well. She's active off her back, and she's actually an armbar specialist because most of her submission wins are via armbar. She's very good with the armbar. She locks it up quick. She's efficient with it, all that. Her takedown defense, though, it's not the best, and that's going to be a problem going against somebody like Silva, who's going to try to get this to the mat most of the time, although she could strike with her because Moroz doesn't have a ton of power on the feet, but she makes up for it with a ton of volume. She's accurate, and she throws clean combinations. So for Moroz, winning on the scorecards, if it stays on the feet, is possible, but I think that the power and the tight defense of Silva is going to make striking on the feet with her going to be a problem for Moroz, especially because Silva's got a little bit more of a diverse arsenal. Moroz is basically throwing boxing combinations, which is great, but Karine Silva is going to use the kicks a little bit more, mix in the different styles of fighting, I would say. For me, I think that this is a matchup where the one who lost the first fight has improved greatly since that matchup, and I do think now Karine Silva is going to get this win. I think she's going to beat Marina Moroz. I don't see Moroz able to get the finish with an armbar, so if she ends up on the mat, I don't see her getting it, and I also don't see her getting a finish on the feet. And when it comes down to who's going to be able to deal the most damage and win the most minutes, I'm going to say that's Karine Silva. So for me, I think she's the pick. I don't see any way that Moroz gets this one done outside of an upset with an armbar, is what I'm saying. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. Does Silva get it done, or does Moroz go 2-0 over the hot prospect, Karine Silva? Let me know what you think. I will see you next matchup is in the women's flyweight division. We have Andrea Lee taking on Natalia Silva. For Natalia Silva, she's 5-0 in the last 5, a very promising up-and-coming prospect. She's taking on the veteran of the UFC, Andrea Lee, who I believe has had like 10 fights in the UFC. Although her last 5, she is 2-3. She's made a good account of herself, even in some of the losses, but she has had a rocky last 5. She will have a bit of a height and reach advantage here, 5'6" with a 69.5-inch reach. So she's going to have a pretty good reach advantage over the 5'4", 65-inch reach of Silva. Now for Silva, she's a solid striker with good movement. She's got plenty of power in both her hands and her kicks. When she's throwing her kicks, she can put them up to all levels, but her body kick in particular is my favorite part, whether it is her spinning side kick, whether it is a roundhouse to the body, whatever she's got to do, she lands those kicks with ferocity and she can drop her opponents very well. Now, in the grappling, she does have very good trip takedowns. When it gets in tight, she can get those legs working, get the trip, and take her opponents to the mat. If she ends up on the bottom, she is good with the sweeps, and as well as she is very dangerous if she can get on top of you. Even better, she's very hard to take down. So if you get into the clinch with her and you're trying to get a takedown of your own, you're probably going to get tripped or swept once you try to throw your takedown. She'll sweep you midair, get on top, land on top, and be very dangerous, whether that's with ground and pound or fishing for a submission. Natalia Silva, she's looking like a complete prospect at this point in her career, looking very solid right now. Now, I understand she's got 5 losses, but those were they were a while ago because obviously she's 5-0 in the last 5. For Andrea Lee, on the other hand, she's a good striker as well. She's got decent power, but she throws really crisp combinations, and I think that makes those punches land just a little bit better because they're nice and clean, you know what I mean? So, for her clinch work, though, when she gets in tight on that clinch, gets that nice tie clinch, she starts landing damaging elbows, knees, working the uppercuts in there, whatever she's got to do. She lands very damaging shots in the clinch. And in fact, I think that is a place in this matchup where she can have some success. Also being the taller fighter, getting that opponent's head down and running those knees up. That is something that taller fighters do have over shorter fighters, is their knee is not too far from the opponent's face. Just happens to be that way. So that tie clinch, kind of an area where I think she will have some success. Now, that is if she doesn't get tripped, but in the wrestling, offensively, she wrestles all right. She's got decent takedowns, but unfortunately for her, defensively on the wrestling, it's not so good. Andrea Lee does get taken down, and when she does get taken down, she gets held down. And I do think Natalia Silva is the type that she can get on top and do some serious damage over Andrea Lee. I think Natalia Silva wins this fight. I think she wins this fight at a very high percentage. I understand she's like minus 350 or something like that at the time of recording this. I think it's justified. I think Natalia Silva wins this fight. I mean, if you run it 100 times, I think she's got to win it over 90%. I think that it's just everything Andrea Lee does, Silva has that in her game. Maybe 90% is a bit extreme, but either way, I think Silva has that in her game. I think she has the tools to beat Andrea Lee, and I think she's probably going to get it done this weekend. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. I will see you in this matchup. We have GM3 Jaron Mearshart looking to make another big upset over Andre Petroski, the up-and-coming prospect who is 4-1 in the last 5 fights. For GM3, he's 3-2 in his last 5. He's going to have a big reach advantage here, but not too much in the height. He's 6'1 with a 77.5-inch reach, as opposed to the 6 foot, 73-inch reach of Petroski. Now, let's go ahead and start by breaking these two down. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth. We're going to break down their striking because that's interesting. For me, it seems like the striking, both these guys being primarily grapplers, is going to be an interesting play out because Petroski, he's a decent striker, but he's got a lot of power, and he's going to loop everything. So he's going to throw these big, wild looping overhands, big hooks. But that's the problem, is he throws these big, wild things. Well, although Mearshart's not the greatest striker, he does have pretty decent range shots. You know, he throws long jabs, uses that 77.5-inch reach that he's got, and he uses it fairly effectively. He's not going to beat most strikers, but neither of these guys are strikers. So in the striking, I do think he's going to be able to land first, just being a longer guy, and he's not looping everything. So there is that for GM3. He's typically pretty durable, although we're starting to see that fade at this point in his career, so who knows how that's going to go up against Petroski here. In the striking, though, I do think those long straights can land for Mearshart. If he lets Petroski get in tight, is he going to be throwing hooks? Or is Mearshart going to be jumping guard or something crazy like that? Who knows? Now, when it comes to the grappling, this is what we're all wondering about. How is that going to go? Petroski's a solid wrestler. He's got good takedowns, he's got good control, and he's got a very tight squeeze when he gets a hold of you. The problem, though, his submission defense has been laxed in the past. That's where that one loss comes from. Brian Battle was able to get him there. But he's put himself in some bad positions before, and I think that putting yourself in a bad position against a guy like GM3 is a problem because Mearshart, he's got very solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got a very large toolbox, and he's extremely active off his back because realistically, he's probably the one that's getting taken down in this matchup, but he's very active off the back. The problem is he is willing to stay there a lot of the time. He will sometimes look to sweep, but a lot of times he'll start playing for submissions and works out some, others it doesn't. Now, the other thing is, when he finds an opening, he jumps on it like that. He's very quick on the submissions. And guys, let me tell you, Part of this might be because I don't really like Andre Petroski that much. But the other part of this, it might be that I think Gerald Mearshard's got another big upset in him. I'm taking Gerald Mearshard to get the submission here. I think he's going to take out Petroski and end the hype that he's got going for him. And, Mearshard send another prospect packing because that's just what he does. He beats these prospects and loses to the other established fighters. That's what Mearshard does. I'm taking him by submission. Probably don't tail this. That's a bet. This isn't a bet. This is a... You know what? I'm going to feel cool when I said I picked that. And then if he loses, he's a big underdog. I get it. It's whatever. It happens. But I'm taking Mearshard to upset Petroski here. He's done it before. He's done it many times. That's what he does. Let me know what you guys have. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next bantamweight finale for the Ultimate Fighter Season 31. Brad Katona is taking on Cody Gibson. Now, for those of you that knew this ahead of time because you saw the graphic that was displayed during the UFC last week, either way, hey, if you knew that, well, good for you. But if you did not, hey, I waited for you. Here it is. We have Cody Gibson. He's 4-1 in the last 5, whether you count the Ultimate Fighter fights or not. For Brad Katona, he's either 4-1 in his last 5 or 5-0 if you count the Ultimate Fighter fights. So in this one here, the height and reach is going to be massively in favor of Cody Gibson. 5'10", 71-inch reach as opposed to 5'6" with a 64.5-inch reach for Katona. In the striking for Gibson, he's got a very long jab. We heard him talk about it quite a bit in the show, but I had this. These are basically the expanded version of my notes pre-show. So if you've checked out my breakdown for the Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter Season 31 that came out before the show, well, guess what? You've seen some of this stuff already, but here it is. He's got that long jab, and he works the teeps very well. Something he does is he just uses the natural built-in length that he has to control his fighters at range in the striking department. He does a good job of it. The jab's there, the teeps are there. Now, when it comes to wrestling, his fundamentals are very crisp. And the reason why, this guy's been working as a high school wrestling coach and teacher during his time outside of the UFC. So for Cody Gibson, what do you do as a high school wrestling coach? You drill fundamentals all the time. You're working a lot of those. And I'm not talking basic fundamentals, but you know what I mean. The stuff that you need to win championships in high school, that's what he's drilling. And guess what? Those are the things that are going to win you MMA fights as well, because when you get those fundamentals right, your takedown defense as well, you got your basic takedowns, using your control, wrestling rides, things like that. When you have really good fundamentals, that's going to help you win MMA fights. He does have very good fundamentals. He's also got excellent front chokes, and that's because he's got them choking arms. Gosh, I missed an opportunity to write that on the board. He's got them choking arms, long, slender arms. They can slip right under your neck, whether it be a Darce choke, an Anaconda choke, or a guillotine choke. He's got a solid front choke. If he doesn't end up on his back, he's very active off of his back. Those long legs that he has help wrap up triangles, things like that, whatever he needs to do. But the problem for Cody Gibson, and we've seen it in quite a few of his fights, is as the fight goes on, if it's a high-paced fight, his cardio starts to fade. I do think he can have moments in the first round in this fight very, very impressively, but what happens as the fight drags on? Well, Brad Katona, he's known for having good cardio. The guy stays with it. He's got decent striking, and in fact, he's actually cleaned it up. Before, I thought his striking was horrible, but he's cleaned it up quite a bit during the time that we saw on The Ultimate Fighter, so that's a new improvement for him. But he still does occasionally work to swinging these wild shots to get in close and start shooting takedowns. That's what he wants to do. He is a solid wrestler with a ton of pressure. And when he gets on your double leg, he's just going to stay on that gosh darn double leg until he gets it. Once he does, he's controlling you on the mat and wearing on you. And it might be boring, but he's going to do it. So, in this one here, guys, I really don't like Brad Katona. The guy's super annoying. And okay, if you've seen it on Twitter, you've probably seen it on my Twitter, 138 MMA on Twitter. When it's Brad Katona, I keep making fun of the guy. I just can't stand him. He's just not very likable. But gosh darn it, he's probably going to win this fight. If he makes it out of the first round, which he probably will, I think he's going to cruise to a decision and probably get the win. So I'm picking Brad Katona in this matchup. I'm mad that I'm doing it. I want Cody Gibson to win, and I sure hope I get this pick wrong, but I'm picking Brad Katona. Let me know what you think. I'm sure you're probably also on Brad Katona. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'll see you in the next fighter finale matchup for the lightweights here. We have Austin Hubbard taking on Kurt Holobaugh. Both of these guys, very exciting. Both guys are on a roll. Obviously, their last 5 fights is a little bit odd because outside of the Ultimate Fighter, we got 3-2 for Hubbard, 2-3 for Holobaugh. But if you include their Ultimate Fighter wins, they're both 4-1 in their last 5. So take that for what you will. For Hubbard, he's 31 years old and 36 for Holobaugh. So there's a bit of an age thing there, but Both guys look pretty sharp on the Ultimate Fighter, so I don't think you have to worry too much about any age discrepancies. Now, in this one here, we're going to break this down. If you watched my breakdown, my pre-tough breakdown, you know that I did my research on these guys quite a while back, and things are kind of shaping up similar to what I thought they would in the breakdowns originally, like pre-show. So anyway, for Austin Hubbard, dude's a good striker. He's got good long straight shots, good front kick up the middle. He can counter pretty well, but he's very durable, and that's the thing that helps him out a lot. Is he's durable, and as he can eat some shots, he'll start countering back on guys. He can mix in that wrestling, and I think that honestly is a way that he wins minutes in this fight if he does decide to mix that in. He's got good takedowns. The problem is sometimes he's going to leave that neck exposed when he shoots those takedowns, and Kurt Holobaugh is not a guy you want to do that against. So he needs to mind his P's and Q's when he shoots the takedown. If you're Austin Hubbard, you want to shoot those takedowns very safe, very controlled, and when you get on top, you smother, and that's what he does. He smothers guys on top, and he can do that for 3 rounds, no problem, because he's got very good cardio. On the other side, Kurt Holobaugh. This dude's a wood chipper. He's got solid striking, excellent combinations. He's got good footwork and a very long jab. He can also counter-strike as well. Both these guys have the ability to counter-strike very well. Holobaugh, I think, is the more damaging striker, though, because when he hits you, you feel it. As we saw in the last matchup for Holobaugh versus Jason Knight, those shots were thudding when he was landing those things, which is funny because, well, you know, Austin Thud Hubbard. So that's really funny how that worked. Anyway, I didn't plan that, I promise. For the jiu-jitsu of Holobaugh, we've seen him use that to get wins in matchups as well. Saved him in his match against Lee Hammond, where he was kind of struggling a little bit with the control of Hammond, but he was able to pull it off because he's never out of a fight. So for him, he's very safe on top for Holobaugh. He's got very good ground and pound once he gets it going. But off his back, he's dangerous as well. He's always looking for submissions. He's a very, very good submission threat off his back. Here's the deal. Holobaugh's a finisher. He's finished 16 of his 19 wins, and I think if he does get the win here, it's going to be a finish because that's just what the guy does. He does not let up. He's going to put that pressure on you. He's going to try to hurt you, and if he can't knock you out, he's going to try and submit you. That's what he does. Now, if you watched my breakdown of the Ultimate Fighter pre-show, you know that I picked Holobaugh to win the whole season, and that hasn't changed. Holobaugh's winning this fight. I know he's the underdog. I don't understand why. Austin Hubbard, he's not bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he can beat Holobaugh. I think the pressure of Holobaugh, the damaging strikes, and the submission arsenal is going to get it done for him. I like Holobaugh to win this matchup. If you happen to be checking out the Patreon, patreon.com/138MMA, I did, in my top 5 bets, have a bet on this fight. It's not the money line for Holobaugh, though. You'll have to check it out over there if you would like to check it out. If not, no big deal. Hey, no big deal. But I like Holobaugh to win this one. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you. Matchup should be fun for as long as it lasts. At middleweight, we have Garry Rodrigues taking on Dennis Tiuliulin. And really quick, if this video has been helpful thus far, why don't you do me a solid? Hit that like button for me. It sure goes a long way in helping the channel grow. Now, for Garry Rodrigues, he's 3-2 in his last 5. For Dennis Tiuliulin, 2-3 in his last 5. And that's because Dennis Tiuliulin's grappling skills are abysmal. He does not have them. He just, once he gets to the mat, he doesn't know what he's doing. But he is a very solid striker. He's going to come forward, tons of volume, tons of power, just trying to get you out of there, hitting you like he hates you, coming after it. That's what he does, okay? Dennis Tiuliulin, very simple to break down. That's why he's 11-7 in his career. He's simple to break down. He's either going to outstrike you or he's going to get out-grappled. Now, for Garry Rodrigues, it's not quite as easy because he's a very accomplished grappler, but he just doesn't want to use it. He just doesn't want to use it. So we're not going to go too deep into it because he doesn't want to use it. If he does use it at all, it doesn't matter what his skills are in grappling. If he uses it at all, it's going to be better than Dennis Tiuliulin. So we don't need to break that down too much. When it comes to the striking, though, he's got solid combinations, plenty of power, but his striking defense hasn't been there, and he's been able to rely on his iron chin for the longest time. We saw it cracked in his last matchup. Now, is that a sign of things to come, or was that a one-off? Anybody can get caught. Let's put it that way. No matter how good your chin is, you can get caught. Garry Rodrigues could have just got caught, and that could be a one-off, and he could go back to being that durable guy we used to know. Or maybe that was it. Maybe that's the end of the durability. For me, I'm going to give him another shot. I'm going to take Garry Rodrigues here. I think he's going to be able to land the better shots, even though Tiuliulin's a tough striker. And I think that if things start to go sour for him, he does have the takedown option in his back pocket. And by golly, if he just has half a brain, he's going to shoot a takedown. Because if he gets the takedown, it's over. So I'm going to go with Garry Rodrigues. I can't back him at the price. I can't back him not knowing if he's going to grapple. but I do think he gets the win. So we're taking Gregory Rodrigues. Let me know what you have, and I will see you in the middleweight matchup between a couple of guys who are 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We have Brad Tavares taking on Chris Weidman. Real quick though, have you heard about channel memberships? They're only $2.99 here on the channel, and what they get you is these sweet little emojis they can use. There's some of my cool characteristics down there. You get your root beer, your marker board, my logo, whatever. You get those emojis. Also, you're going to get this neato little badge next to your name. Now, let me tell you this. There's someone in the comments, Pink Floyd, is probably going to leave a comment on this video. When Pink Floyd leaves a comment, you'll be able to see that next to the name. Pink Floyd, little icon. That icon right there is going to tell how long you've been a supporter of the channel via the channel membership. They're kind of neat. They're these little, like, you know, I've customized them. I picked what the logos are going to look like. They're kind of cool. I like them a lot. But either way, you can see in the comments who is a channel member, because they're going to have those little icons. Now, right now it's Pink Floyd. If anybody else would like to join Pink Floyd, you can do that. It's only $2.99. It really helps the channel. Goes a long way for less than $3 a month. So, hey, I appreciate it. Let's break this fight down, shall we? Now, Brad Tavares is the younger guy at 35 years old. He's taking on the 39-year-old in Weidman. Now, like I said, both guys are 2-3 in the last 5. Not exactly what you like to see, but they're on different paths right now. Because Brad Tavares, he's got good striking, right? He strikes in combination, durable as all get out. He's going to be able to mix those body shots with the head shots in combination, does a good job with it. But here's the thing. He's still very durable at 35 years of age. He's also got excellent counter wrestling. Takedown defense is fantastic, and he's going to start striking with you right away when he can. Now, for Chris Weidman, he's a solid wrestler. Actually, he's a very, very solid wrestler. Solid takedowns, top control. Fantastic, right? Does a great job with that. But the problem is he's fighting one of the better counter wrestlers in the division after coming off of a 2-year layoff. Now, with the striking, he's got a nice jab and he's got some decent power to him. But realistically, he's coming off the leg break that we saw in his last fight where his leg turned to rubber and just bounced around looking all gooey. Not what you want for your leg, right? It's a bad thing. Now, he's coming back after 2 years off. He's 39 years old. Honestly, this is probably going to be the retirement fight for Chris Weidman. I feel like you have to take the Tavares side. You hate to do it because you kind of part of you wants Chris Weidman to win, go out on top, get his retirement, kind of like Robbie Lawler had, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to take Brad Tavares. It's not like they're giving Chris Weidman somebody that's just not durable like they did with Robbie Lawler. So Tavares probably gets it done. But let me know what you think. Check out those channel memberships, and I'll see you guys in the next fight. Thank you. Very interesting matchup here. We have, in the bantamweight division, Blackshear stepping in only 7 days removed from his previous bout. He fought last weekend. He is now stepping in on very, very short notice to take on Bautista, who lost his opponent earlier in the week. Now, Blackshear, like I said, extremely short notice. Big red flags there. Then he fought the weekend prior. Even bigger red flags. But here he is. Here we are. So we're going to break it down. Blackshear, 3-1-1 in the last 5, 4-1 for Bautista. For Blackshear, he's going to be taller and longer, 5'10 with a 72-inch reach, as opposed to the 5'9", 69-inch reach of Bautista. Now, we're going to break this down, and we're going to ignore the red flags for now. Don't do that come fight day. But we're going to ignore the red flags for now, break down the skills, and then circle it back and make a pick. So, for Blackshear, solid wrestling. He's got a very large toolbox on the mat. He can take guys down. Once he gets them down, he's going to probably look to take the back. He can also stay on top, from half guard or side control, whatever. He's looking for something. He's looking to take the back, though, typically. Once he does, he looks for the rear naked choke, but he's also got some other chokes in the arsenal, arm triangle, things like that. He does have a pretty large toolbox, as I mentioned. He's usually looking for chokes, though, not a ton of joint locks. Now, when it comes to striking, pretty powerful, got a nice rangy jab, and if you start sticking to that jab, that reach advantage here is going to be nice. So he does have that as an option for him. He does have good striking. Like I said, he's pretty powerful. Now, when it comes to the Bautista side, he's also got good striking. He's got a little bit more volume and movement to him, I think, than Blackshear when it comes to the striking. But he does have power as well, but he does leave his chin exposed when he's throwing combinations, things like that. He comes in for the combo, chin gets wide open, he'll drop one hand as he's throwing the other. It happens to him usually in the excitement of a matchup, and if that power of Blackshear is here in this fight, who knows, after cutting weight 2 times in a week, but if that's there, he could land on the chin and Bautista could go down. Now, that's not to say that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that is a possibility because it does leave the chin exposed. Now, when it comes to grappling, he's also got a large toolbox of his own, and I would say he's going to seek the submission, but it's not necessarily in the same way. Blackshear typically looks for chokes. Yes, I understand he got a twister in the last fight. That's not normal, though. That's a rarity. It's an oddity. But for Bautista, he looks for a little bit more variety. He's got the chokes, he's got the joint locks, things like that. Bautista, a little bit more diverse in his grappling style. It's more of like they have a different style, let's put it that way. Blackshear, like I said, though, he's looking to take back, looking to look for chokes, things like that. This is a tough matchup, and on a full camp, I would probably take Blackshear and feel good about it because I think that he's going to be able to use the range, use that long jab, land some shots, and I think in the grappling, he's going to be good enough to either A, take control, or B, at least survive if he needs to. Now, this matchup, you know what? Coming in with a bunch of confidence, I'm going to take Blackshear, but there's no way I'm betting this one. I don't think this goes well for Blackshear as far as the weight cut, things like that. I don't trust a guy cutting weight twice in a week. I don't trust a guy that's taken this fight after fighting 7 days prior, before this fight. But I'm going to take him because I think he can get it done. I think he can catch Bautista with something there. And I do think that Blackshear, so for me, I think the confidence coming into this one, I think is going to help Blackshear quite a bit. He's coming off of a big win, got the twister submission, only the third in UFC history, and he's coming in feeling like a king. And when he comes in here, confident fighters tend to fight a little bit better. So I'm going to take Blackshear. This pick might change. Keep an eye on the channel. I'll let you know. I got to think this one over. This is a tough one. But like I said, it was just announced. I got to get this video out, so here it is. That's where we're at now. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you, especially on this one because it's a tough one. I will see you in the next really tough one here. This is a close matchup. In the bantamweight division, we have Marlon Vera, and he is taking on Pedro Munhoz. Now, when you look at their 5-on-in, you got 2-2-1, one no contest it is for Munhoz, and you look at the 4-1 for Vera, and you think, well, that should be pretty easy. Vera's going to win. But it's not that simple. Then you look at the age, 36-30 in the bantamweight division, you'd say, well, Vera's going to win. And then you look at the height and reach, and you say 5'6" with a 65-inch reach for Munhoz, 5'8" with a 70.5-inch reach for Vera. Well, Vera's got a big reach advantage in what should be a striking contest. Vera's going to win. Yeah, all those things point to Vera, but there's a few other X factors that we're going to cover here. First things first, guys, I seriously think that this is the fight where you just got to kick your feet up on a coffee table, crack open a nice ice-cold root beer, and enjoy, because this one is not one you want to put your money on. This one is a very close matchup, and it could go either way. And I think it's going to go to the judges. And betting on fights to go to the judges is never a good idea anyway, typically, because you don't know what you're going to expect from the judges. In this one in particular, it's going to come down to are the judges favoring volume or damage, and you never really know. This is going to be tough. So, for Munhoz, the dude's a very solid striker with a ton of forward pressure, lands leg kicks heavy. After he's landing the leg kicks for a while, he's going to snap that thing up to the body and start landing body shots. After you're getting ready for the leg kick, he's going to throw another leg kick. Then he's going to start snapping up to the body and land some damage there. As he's coming forward, he's going to get into the pocket and start throwing those big power shots to the body, coming up top, landing good combinations there. He can counter-strike well, even in the pocket. Munhoz is a very good striker, but sometimes he does get caught chasing a little bit because he doesn't cut the cage off super well. Instead, he just kind of chases a bit, and when that happens, guys like Vera, who is basically a sniper from long range, can land those big heavy shots as he's chasing, step off, boom, land that big heavy shot. So Vera has a chance to counter back at that time. It's close though because Munhoz is going to be landing leg kicks, and can he slow down Vera's movement? And if he does, then he'll be able to catch him, get in the pocket. If it goes to the mat, the jiu-jitsu is definitely on the Munhoz side. It's not probably going to go to the mat, but he's got slick front chokes, and he's got good takedown defense. If anybody's going to shoot a takedown, it's probably going to be Munhoz. Anyway, to Vera, because Vera is he's a very talented striker, okay? He's going to read his opponents really well, but it takes him a bit of a round, pretty much the first round, the whole first round, to figure that out. What's my opponent doing? What do I need to do here? And he just doesn't throw a ton of volume in that first round. He doesn't really throw a ton of volume anyway, but in the first round in particular, he doesn't get a lot done. And when he doesn't get a lot done in the first round, well, he probably loses the first round. Vera tends to do that. Now, that's a problem because this is a 3-round fight. If you're already down 1 round, you better win the next 2. So, for Vera, first round off, that's tough. That scares me from Vera. Now, what he's going to do, though, in the second and third round is land some heavy shots. He's got a ton of power, a very diverse kicking arsenal. And when he starts landing those kicks at range against a guy like Munhoz, who's much shorter, much smaller reach, Vera's going to have the ability to land those big, heavy shots. And those big, heavy shots, although Munhoz is durable as all get out, doesn't have the best striking defense. So they are going to mark him up. They are going to look a little bit, look a little nice for the eyes of the judges. The power is there from Vera, and he, unlike Munhoz, has very good striking defense. he doesn't get hit a ton, and when he does get hit, he doesn't really take a ton of damage. So for Vera, he's got a lot going for him there, but I think he loses the first round. Can he win the next two? That's what it comes down to. If it gets into the clinch, so if, for example, Munhoz gets in close, landing good shots in the pocket, and Vera gets to clinch up, those elbows just come like fury, just nasty, nasty elbows. Tons of elbows coming down the pipe, volume heavy, just throwing them like crazy. If Vera starts doing that, this is going to be very one-sided. But the problem is, what's going to happen with the leg kicks? That's what we're looking at. So for me, this one, I've gone back and forth on this a couple times. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. I actually did this video yesterday, recorded the whole thing, did the whole breakdown, which is probably why I'm a little out of sorts because this is not my normal recording time. But anyway, I recorded the whole thing yesterday, and I'd originally picked Munhoz to win because of the volume. And I know he's probably going to win the first, and I figured he'd get another round. I think I'm going to take Vera, but honestly, if you're going to bet this fight, if you have to bet it, I think the point spread is the way to go. Bet the point spread on Munhoz. I think he can win the first round. I think he will win the first round. Munhoz probably wins the first round, and after that, it's going to be Vera. For me, Vera 29-28 makes a ton of sense. Makes all the sense in the world. I'm taking Vera here. Let me know what you guys have. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you in the 70 pounds. We have Neil Magny taking on a short notice matchup to fight Ian Machado Garry. For Garry, he's 5-0 in the last 5 because he's undefeated on the career at 12-0. For Magny, 3-2 in the last 5. And this dude just takes short notice fights, never backs down from anyone, and it's very impressive because for Neil Magny to rack up a 28-10 career with the fights that he's taken, the fact he'll just fight anybody, that's pretty impressive. So in this one here, though, there is a bit of an age difference. 36 for Magny, 25 for Garry, who's coming up, looking good at the young age, improving every single fight. But he is going to be facing a bit of a reach disadvantage. Now, 6'3", they're both 6'3", 74 to 80-inch reach, though. Magny is going to have a big reach advantage like he does in most of his matchups. That's a very long wingspan to have, 80 inches, whatever. So, in this one here, we have Garry, who he's probably the better striker, I'd say, overall. He's very slick. He's got accuracy, tons of volume coming through, very accurate with his combinations. He's going to work all different levels, whether it's a leg kick, comes up with his shots up top, hits the body, kicks to the body, whatever. He works all levels in his striking. It's very crisp, very clean. The problem is his striking defense because he backs up, leaving his chin up when he's stepping out of the pocket. He is durable, thankfully, and he recovers quick when he's hit, but that is a problem. It's not probably going to cost him in this matchup, and he's lucky that Jeff Neal pulled out, and he now is fighting Neil Magny. Not because I think Neil Magny's worse than Jeff Neal. In fact, Neil Magny has a win over Jeff Neal. I just think stylistically, a guy that hits like Jeff Neal is going to make big problems for a guy that leaves his chin open. Now, Neil Magny, he's not the one-shot guy, but he can wear you down, beat on you, and that's what he does in a lot of his matchups. For Garry, though, real quick to finish it out, he does have a judo background, and he will mix in takedowns when his opponents are thinking strikes are coming. So for Garry, very well-rounded, very good offensively, striking defense leaves much to be desired. For Neil Magny, dude's a good striker, and he's got long straights, and when he throws those long straights, he's going to be able to get there first on Garry because, as you know, well, Gary's got 74 inches of reach as opposed to the 80 over here, so that's a 6-inch disadvantage. Now, I don't know if you know this, but a 6-inch reach advantage is a pretty big deal when it comes to throwing strikes, especially when the guy throws straight. So for Neil Magny, I do think that's a good weapon for him. As his opponents start closing the distance when he's throwing these straights, he'll collapse into an elbow, whether it's coming that way, or he's doing the poking elbow. Neil Magny is very good at getting those elbows in there, and I think he can land a few here, cut Ian Garry open. Sorry about that. Cut Garry open with those elbows if he's able to time them just right. He's also got very good striking defense. Not a lot of people land flush on Neil Magny, and when they do, they don't do it very often. So Neil Magny's very good on the feet. I think the better striking is going to be on the Garry side, but I think Magny's got a lot more veteran savvy, a little more tricks up his sleeve there, so there is that to take into account. When it comes to the wrestling, I will say Magny's more willing to mix things up a bit. He does mix in the takedowns, but the cage push is where he's going to win a lot of minutes on guys. Hold him up against the cage, land those elbows up there, just grind on him, put his forearm on the face, wear him down a little bit. He does that very well, and that's how he wins a lot of minutes. He's got good top pressure too, where he has you against the cage and pressuring you, or gets you to the mat. He's able to put the pressure on you and win those minutes, like I said. He's also got great cardio. He's going to be a guy that you're not going to be able to get out of there very easily. You're not going to wear him out. Neil Magny's there from start to finish, and he's going to keep coming. So, tough matchup for both guys. Both guys for the fact that it's short notice. Garry has to change his game plan for a new opponent. Magny stepping in on short... It's probably routine for Magny to step on short notice at this point. But either way, it is still a tough challenge on short notice. Garry's very talented. For me, I'm going to take Ian Garry in this one. I think he's just going to be a step too fast. I think he's going to be a bit too accurate. And I think he's going to be able to land some better shots. Whether or not he knocks out Magny, that is to be determined. I don't know that he does. I'm not going to play it either way. But I do think Ian Garry gets this one. Ian Machado Garry, sorry. I do think Ian Machado Garry does get this one done. Let me know what you guys think. And also, while we're at it, hey, check out Grey Dog Software. The link is going to be in the description of this. I might even throw it in the comments too, but it's in the description for sure. They have the world of mixed martial arts. You can make your own pay-per-views. You can book your shows. You can run the promotion how you see fit. Give bonuses to everybody on the card for all I care. You know, you can do it all. You can do that in World of Mixed Martial Arts 5. They also have World of Mixed Martial Arts 4, 3, etc. But number 5 is the newest one. You can get it at my link in the description. And it's gonna be a joyous time for you. I know you're gonna love it. Make your own cards. You can take over the UFC. You can take over Bellator. You can do whatever you like, and it'll be a fun time. So check that out in the description. Sorry, in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next matchup up next. And this is our co-main event of the evening. If you've made it this far in the video, do me that favor, please like this video. I appreciate it very much. It does help the channel grow. Helps me. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just shows your support. So please do me solid. Like this video. If we can get 100 likes on this video, I'd be ecstatic. So let's shoot for that number, 100 likes, and let's go ahead and break down this fight, shall we? It's strawweight division. We have Amanda Lemos. She is challenging Zhang Weili for the women's strawweight championship. For Weili, she's 3-2 in the last 5, which is weird because she is the champion. And you look at that and you're like, how is she 3-2 in the last 5 and the champion? Well, she's lost a couple of title fights back then, and she's strung together 3 wins since. So for Lemos, 4-1 in her last 5. Her only loss coming to Jessica Andrade, as we know from that standing arm triangle. Now, interesting matchup here because both ladies are solid strikers. We're going to start with the Amanda Lemos side. She's a solid striker with tons of power. She's going to stick her jab really heavy, hard jab, power jab, if you will. She's also got good counter shots as somebody will chase that back in on the jab, come in at her, and she's going to counter with that right hook. Lands it heavy when she does land it, but the problem is sometimes she gets backed up. So she'll stick the heavy jab and get backed up while she's trying to counter strike. So that is the one drawback there, but I will say her power is very, very, it's up there, okay? She can drop Zhang Weili with that power, and I would not be surprised. So when it comes to the grappling, though, she's got a quick guillotine, and other than that, she's going to want to try to work back to her feet. She does have a quick guillotine, though. She'll jump it if she needs to, or she'll, try to catch it off at a takedown, but she does have a quick guillotine. Aside from that, I think being on the feet is where she's going to want to be in this matchup because she can stick that jab, start working those shots there, landing that power. Now, for Zhang Weili, she's a very complete mixed martial artist. She is a solid striker with a ton of forward pressure. She's going to throw combinations, power, accuracy, volume. The one drawback is when she starts throwing her combos, sometimes her hands come back down here rather than right back to her face. Now, she probably fixed that between fights because guess what? She is improving between every single fight. But as of her last fight, she was still doing the whole drop the hands and mid combo thing, and that's a problem, especially when you're fighting a counter striker with a heavy right hook, Amanda Lemos. So that is it. There's a red flag, similar to the backed up for Lemos being a red flag. Now, if it gets into the clinch, my goodness, is Zhang deadly in the clinch. She has very brutal knees. She's got trip takedowns if she needs to, and if she gets on top of her opponents, from the grappling standpoint, her ground and pound is very, very brutal. It is nasty ground and pound. If you watch some of her fights pre-UFC, my goodness, guys, she is brutalizing these poor women. So, nasty ground and pound. She gets there from the clinch a lot of times with those trips. Once it's on the mat, though, if it's coming from where she is taken down, she is very active off her back. She's good at creating scrambles by getting her feet on the hips of the opponent, pushing them away, creating that scramble, and either getting back to her feet or taking top position. In addition to that, if somebody shoots a takedown on her, she does have a decent sprawl. I don't think that's the issue here. I think we're going to get striking, and if it does go to the mat, it's going to be from Weili looking for that. So Zhang Weili probably is going to be the more likely person to bring it to the mat if it does go there. But in the striking, we have a fun matchup. Honestly, I think Zhang gets this done at a pretty good clip. I think the odds are not wide enough. I think Weili's safe. I think she's going to win this one, and I think she's going to do it very impressively and show why she is the rightful 115-pound women's strawweight champion. So let me know what you guys have. Thanks so much. Reminder, like this video, and I'll see you in the main event. Folks, we're at the main event of the evening. Aljamain Sterling defends his title in the bantamweight division against Sean O'Malley. For Sean O'Malley, he's 4-0 in a no contest in his last 5. That one no contest being the eye poke stoppage to Pedro Munhoz that we talked about earlier in the card. Now, with Sterling, obviously 5-0 in the last 5. He's been the champion for a while now. So this matchup here, the thing that stood out to me right away is, so 5'7" to 5'11". O'Malley's the much taller fighter, but 71 and 72 for the reach. O'Malley's only got a 1-inch reach advantage over Sterling, and that's wild to me because for a guy that's 67 inches tall with a 71-inch reach, that's pretty crazy. So for O'Malley, he still is going to be longer and taller here, like he is in most of his fights, but not as much longer as you would expect for a guy that's 5'11" as opposed to 5'7". So anyway, let's break this one down. We're going to start with the striking of Sean O'Malley. Now, the striking of Sean O'Malley is expert level. He is a very solid striker. His feints are what set it all up. He can feint his hip, and he doesn't even have to throw the hand. He just feints the hip, and he gets you to bite on it. And the reason why is because you know that what's coming down is a nice, long, crisp, straight shot that's going to land if he throws it. Now, if he doesn't throw it, he throws that feint, and you bite on that feint, and then he's got a combination coming at you. Now, he can do this from either stance, and oftentimes he's switching that stance on a kick, whether that be a front kick and step through, a roundhouse kick, a spinning wheel kick, whatever it needs to be. He's able to switch his stance from his kicks, and he does a very good job of working just as well from either stance. His footwork's just as good. He can circle off just as well, and that is something that he's going to need to be able to do here. He's going to need to be able to throw those long, straight shots, land those kicks, and circle off, and not get in too tight with Aljamain Sterling, because Sterling is a very good grappler. So O'Malley is going to need to use this footwork and circling ability to get away. Now, here's the biggest thing about O'Malley with his striking is he's incredibly accurate. He threads the needle between your gloves. You're blocking, you think you've got it covered, he somehow gets in there. He's got expert timing, just like they talked about in that Kung Fu fighting song, if you remember that. That just aged me quite a bit. But he threads the needle very well, lands those shots, and when he does, it goes right through the gloves, lands, comes around the outside, hits you. If you look at his accuracy stats even, it shows that he's very, very accomplished with it. Now the kicks, I think this is going to be a very impressive showing if he can get the side kick to the knee going that he does. If he can do that in the first round, land that side kick to the knee a couple of times on Sterling, all he's got to do then is feint that, and Sterling's going to be just a little bit apprehensive about coming in for that takedown. And why do I say that? Well, I don't know if any of you have ever had your knee hyperextended, but it doesn't feel very good. So being able to land that once or twice just on that knee, just kick, ooh, ouch. Then every time he feints that just a little bit, Sterling's going to be just a little bit hesitant to come in heavy and try to go for that takedown. I think that is something he needs to get going early, is that side kick to the knee. The front kick to the body is going to be there, but I don't know he's going to throw it a lot simply for the fact that Sterling is such a good wrestler. And that spinning heel kick that he throws is also quite an impressive kick. That one I can see him throwing, but he probably is going to have to use it sparingly because getting up on one leg is going to be a problem. But that side kick to the knee is a move that O'Malley needs to get going early, land once or twice early on, and then use that for the rest. Now, he does a good job about being elusive on the feet. He's hard to hit. He evades shots very well, and he does that because he keeps a measured approach, doesn't overcommit to anything, so he's hard to counter-strike against, and he's going to keep that range. When he does get in tight, he's typically doing that purposefully in order to land a knee and then get back out and start landing his rangy shots. He does that very well. He likes to stay all the way out. When he does end up on the ground, so far from what we've seen anyway, he can use his long limbs and his long legs to lock up a body triangle from the bottom and just lock down the opponent, or shove their head down and keep safe on the ground. That's basically what he's done so far with what we've seen. Now, for O'Malley though, the grappling, he's going to be far outmatched because he's going up against a very high-level wrestler in Aljamain Sterling. Now, Aljamain Sterling shoots a very low shot, gets down, gets like an ankle pick or shoots a double leg, single leg, doesn't matter. Usually a single leg, actually. If he gets a hold of that leg, he's going to be working to take you to the mat, and once he does, he's going to take your back and control you for as long as he wants. Now, he hasn't got a lot of finishes from rear naked choke in recent memory. He's been getting a lot of decisions. But he's able to do that by taking people's backs, whenever someone tries to get out of that, he can scramble and regain that position. He does a darn good job of it. In fact, he does this so well, he doesn't do a whole lot else on the ground, except for take your back, control you there, fish for the rear naked choke, land some shots, but just control, control, control. They call him the human backpack for a reason. We've all heard it. It's kind of getting annoying at this point, honestly, because we all have to say it, but nobody wants to just repeat the same crap that everybody else says. But either way, he's the human backpack. You got it. Decent striker, though, in his own right. He uses his range well. That's not going to work too well in this matchup, but typically he's able to throw that really long jab and land on guys in the bantamweight division because he can hit them before they can realize that he's actually in range because he's got such long arms. Now, his movement's pretty good on the feet, and one thing he does well is throw the kicks. Now, we saw the leg kicks work really well against Cejudo, but he's also got a nice head kick of his own. So when, I don't know if he can get it all the way up to 5'11", so that's something to think about. But when Sterling's throwing those long jabs and you see that head kick coming afterwards, it kind of catches you by surprise because you don't expect a high-level wrestler to be throwing head kicks a lot, but he does, and he does a good job with them. I don't think he's going to be able to land a head kick on O'Malley, but that's just something that's in his repertoire. Now, he is going to be the physically stronger of the two. If you look at a photo of these two, it doesn't take much to say, yeah, Sterling's probably stronger. It's not crazy to say. So Sterling's going to be the stronger one of the two. Honestly, Sterling is going to be able to control any round he gets this to the mat, and O'Malley's going to win any round that he can keep this on the feet. So for me, the bet and the pick are tricky. Well, the bet's easy. The pick's tricky. The bet is easy because you bet the point spread because I don't think it's a wash. I don't think Sterling's finishing out O'Malley, and I do think O'Malley's going to be able to win a couple of rounds here. I think he's going to be able to keep his distance at range, land some shots, and win a couple of rounds because if it's on the feet, he's going to win. However, when it goes to the mat, Sterling's going to win those rounds. Who do I think is going to win the fight? Ooh, that's tough. I've gone back and forth on this one a lot, and everything says I should pick Sterling. But darn it, I'm going to take the shot on the dog in O'Malley. I'm going to take O'Malley to get this one done, probably by decision. I think he's going to get a decision, winning 3 out of the 5 rounds, landing the shots, keeping his distance. Because you've got to imagine that the time he's taken off is simply, it's not like just grappling. I know he's been doing grappling competitions, but I think what he's been doing is working on keeping his range and throwing long shots as people try to land takedowns on him and trying to use that as his way to evade the takedowns by getting on that bicycle and moving. Because he has shown pretty good cardio in the past, been able to outlast opponents even when he's throwing a high output, high volume. He doesn't really get super tired. So I'm going to take O'Malley, and I'm not going to be surprised if I'm way off on this pick. But I'm going to take him anyway. So we're going to take O'Malley in this one. Let me know what you guys have. Don't bet O'Malley straight. I mean, you can if you want. Do whatever the heck you want. Don't listen to me. But the point spread is plus money. I think it's like plus 125 when I got it. That's the way to go because then even if he does lose, I do think he can get a couple of rounds. So let me know what you think. I love hearing from you guys. Like the video on your way out. This is your last reminder. I'll see you next time.